For joining us, the NSSF Financial Literacy Hour. This is the time when we get back to class. These 2 hours, we dedicate them to the School of Money. We all grow up learning physics, aeronomics, dynamics, so many things, the chiefs, the who's. No one ever taught us about money. And those who taught us about money, they didn't have the money themselves. So we take off some time to reflect and say, what is it? I've been going through school to get money, but now that I am getting money, how do I use my money? How do I keep my money? How do I grow my money? How does my money impact the society? So as NSSF, we are dedicated to doing this, and we shall keep doing this. I will always keep reminding you on why we do this. We do this because we want to be of purpose to you. My name is Apollo Mbowa, and I am the headmaster of this particular class. And as will be and shall always be, I am, while in class, you address me as headmaster, sir. It also makes more sense if you put sir before headmaster. So you say sir, headmaster, sir. Yes, thank you so much. Today we are going to continue with quite a number, continue on our journey of learning, and I congratulate you for being very good students and keeping with us all this while. Why we do this is because we want to make a difference in our lives. As NSSF, we see some figures here and they are really battling our heads. Why is it that we only have 5% of people who have gone through employment able to attain a financial independence? It's only 5% of people who have worked and are able to maintain the life they were in while they are working. 95% of us have to go down. We have to go down, and we are encouraging our parents. We are busy encouraging our parents, go back to the village where the air is good, where there is no traffic jam. But you know very well you are just only encouraging them to go there because they cannot afford their life anymore. That should stop. 90% of us have NSSF as the only saving option. And we are saying, if you don't have options, you are poor. Even if you have $1 billion at NSSF, but you only have NSSF as your saving option, you are poor. So we do this to increase those places, to bring in awareness, and you understand that there are so many other places where you can invest, you can have options. A rich man, a wealthy man has options. NSSF pays out. This is members' money going to the members themselves. Every month, 7 NSSF to go out to the public in there. And the question is still as good as what I'm asking myself. Where is that money? 70 billion every month. Where is that money? Since the 7th of March, when we started midterm access, we've paid out over 400 billion. That has left NSSF and it has gone to its owners. You are the owners, and we have no problem delivering our mandate by giving you back your money. But when it gets back, it must count. Your benefits must count. As NSSF, we are saying you have to become better. The money that is at NSSF, over 17 trillion, hangs around big boys. Its network is the trillions of money. So when it gets to your pocket, it can get lonely and flee from you if you don't do something about it. So while you're waiting for the money to come from NSSF to come to you, can you build up some siblings, some brothers around it, so that this money that is used to hanging around with big boys can hang with you longer than we are seeing this? Because 80% of our members will look, when we go back to them after 2 years, they do not want to talk to us. They cannot account for their money. So welcome again. I welcome you, and I have a panel, a very, very, very exciting panel. I will get into them in a little brief, but I want to know who you are. What are you? Why are you here? So we'll do our first poll question. Because the panelists need to get these. They need to get this. They need to get to understand who you are. If the back office team is kind enough to share that poll question with us, and also share it on my screen, would be glad. Our question is asking, who are you? Who are you? Are you male? Are you female? Are you male? Are you female? What is your age bracket? Are you below 20? 20 to 30? 30 to 40? 40 to 50? Or above 50? We want to know these because we want to get our our panelists customize. They need to customize their message to you. Your employment status, are you in formal employment? Are you a business owner? Are you self-employed? Are you unemployed? Please let us know. And your rate, just ignore that fourth question. Let's fill out that and finish up this in the next two, one, and let us know who you are. If the back office team, you're kind enough to share with me, I have no visibility. I need to understand who we are, and then also display the second question. Yes, the majority of our participants are between 30 and 40. The next majority is 20 to 30. So the biggest of our majority is between 20 to 40 years, with about above that some. Again, I've been telling the ladies that the men we are ruling. The men, with the majority of the participants, 78% are male. Yes. In formal employment, of course, for these participants, the majority are formally employed. We have some business owners. We have self-employed people and unemployed, who are the minority. The difference between a self-employed and a business owner is a self-employed person is an owner of a job. The business owner owns jobs. Yes. Thank you so much. Let's have the next poll question, and then we get down to these persons who are itching to share with us this knowledge. I have with me, I can tell you, the topic today is my network, about networks, and I am already feeling like my network has grown. Just by meeting them today, I feel like my net worth has actually grown. Yes, the network is big, but the net worth today has actually grown. If you are kind enough to give us the second poll question, what is the average number of the social circle constituency? Of your social circle constituency. Your social, the people you call your inner circle, how many are they? Are they between 1 to 3? Are they between 4 to 6? Are they between 5 to 10? Or are they above 10? What is the number, the average number? Your network, that social, that inner circle. And describe your role in that inner circle. Who are you in that? Are you a leader? Are you a follower? Are you a mobilizer? Are you a resource provider? Some of you are in these social networks because you own a car and you are the driver, the designated driver. So who are you? Others, you are the ringleaders. Hey. Then there are other roles, others, I don't know what, but who are you in these social circles? These panelists need to know the kind of people they're talking to so that they can articulate their answers. Kindly, in the next 1, 2, 3, let's see the results. Let's see the results before I go to my favorite part. The results. Yes, the majority of the people here have an inner circle of between 4 to 6 people. About 34% of us. Another good majority, 28%, have an inner circle of above 10 people. I can do an educated guess and I say those are married. There's another one which is between 6 to 10, about 23%. You know, when you're married, you have an inner circle of one person, they come with a wife, so it becomes 2. And their roles here are, majority of us are followers. 27% of us are followers in the inner circle. We are in there to see what we can pick. Then we have 26% there. They are the candle in these circles. They are the ones who have made it. They are the big boys. Allow me to use that word. Then there are those who are mobilizers. They're not necessarily doing much, but they are mobilizers. They like their mobilization skills. Then the resource providers, the drivers, the ones who have houses where people can meet, the ones who have compounds where people can do baptisms, yes, or have village places. And the others are 12%. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for that. My panelists, You have seen the people we are going to talk to. Those people above 50. Those two people with a majority between 20 to 40. The majority of them are followers in their social circles, and they have about between 4 to 6 people in their social circles. To moderate our sessions today, we have Barbara Kasekende. She's a youth and woman activist, a corporate executive who serves as the head of business advisory at the Uganda Development Bank. Don't ask me where it is there. Before that, she was a corporate social investment manager at Stanbic Bank. She was one of the largest commercial bank, of course, in Howard's. Barbara's business career goes way back, 14 years ago. She has worked in several workplaces. She has worked in NFT. She has worked in Stanbic Bank. She's worked with AIG in different capacities. Barbara lives to ensure that the youth know their worth, and the women, Barbara, who are the minority today in our poll, and the women know that they are women of valor. Women of valor, please call other women of valor to log in. Barbara is a mother, she's a wife, a friend, a sister, and a shoulder to lean on. Join me to welcome Barbara Kasekende. Barbara, you respond and say, Headmaster, sir.
Sir, Headmaster, sir.
Thank you. Yes, you'll switch on your microphone and take over the floor and introduce us our beautiful and elegant panel. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Welcome,
but
Barbara.
Sir, Headmaster, sir, thank you very much. Before we go on to introduce the panelists and get into the subject topic, I am baffled by the statistics. And I've been employed for quite a long time, since 2000, let me not mention the years. But to say only 5% attain financial independence with the savings that they've gotten from NSSF, we have a problem. We have a lot of gaps that we have to fill. To say that 90% have NSSF as the only savings option, ladies and gentlemen, you and I need to have a strong coffee, because that says there's a huge gap missing, which means Uganda overall cannot develop. Then to tell us 70B leaves every month, because if it leaves every month,
we're also looking for it.
You're also looking for it.
That's why we have
So where
this
does that
conversation.
money go? And over 400 billion gone. I think for me, these statistics bring a reality as to why such programs matter. And thank you, NSSF, for leading this very strongly. Thank you, because even that shows banks like Uganda Development Bank have a lot of work to do. It shows what Stanbic has to do, and so many other institutes. So thank you so much for bringing this. I couldn't, when you're going through this, I was like, oh my goodness, I just learned something new today. So, Sir, Headmaster, sir.
Thank you.
I'm present. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Barbara, and we look forward to guiding this panel into developing the next Uganda. 34% of our members are women at NSSF.
34%. We need to raise. Thank you for bringing that up. Oh, we are coming. We are coming. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Wherever you are, good afternoon, good evening, good morning. Thank you so much for tuning in to this webinar. I know things are very different. We are also getting used to looking at a camera instead of having you all in a room so that we can have a one-on-one. But this session that we are having today, to all those tuned in, is particularly important because it not only talks about the money that we all hear, but it talks about the fragment of why we are human, our networks. So we hope that you guys walk this journey with us. It's going to be very interactive, guys, so please use the chat rooms, talk to us, ask those questions so that we can be able to answer them back and forth as we're going through this. Before I introduce our panelists, one of the things I wanted to mention was, you hear the term social capital. Social capital. Papers have been written. Guys have done a lot of research about it. So today, NSSF, thank you guys, has some free goodies for 10 of you. So 10 guys out there, you'll be the first one to tell me what social capital is. type it in the chat, and the first 10 people to tell me what it is, if you Google it, I will know, because I'm going to tell you right now the first 3 Google answers. So if your answer is not a Google answer, you'll definitely win some goodies. But a lot of what we are going to talk about is going to be that. So as we get into it, I was already introduced so gallantly. Thank you, Mr. Headmaster. Let me get into our panel today. It's nice to be among friends. Both of them, we have history. If we leave here, we're going to have a very long evening because we all come a long way. But to my extreme left, I have a beautiful, beautiful young lady who taught me a lot when I had just come from the United States of America. And this is so true. So I come in with my 3 degrees. I'm thinking I have what it takes because I have 3 degrees to get in here. So I come to NSSF for an interview, and I am very confident, ladies and gentlemen, because I'm American with the American accent, that I will get the job. This lady looks at me in the interview, talking a lot of talk, and then so calmly, for people that know Olive, says, Barbara, thank you so much for coming to this interview, but you need to take some time to learn the real skill set. You're very good, your education is on point, everything is excellent, we love your confidence, but go and learn some skills, please, then come back and we talk. Olive, it's because of you that I went and I reached where I am today. And Olive is one of my key people when we talk about social capital, because she showed me, because you have 3 degrees, it does not mean that you're entitled to the job, please. So without a further ado, Olive is an Africa Board Fellow. She's a certified balance score champion, chartered marketer with over 20 years experience in leadership at board management level. She's a brand marketing guru, strategy and communication, board chair for Finca, and so many other boards. And currently, actually before she came here, she was heading SOS. Love that organization and what it has done for children. And currently, ladies and gentlemen, she is the Deputy Director General for Uganda Civil Aviation Authority. Her story is so rich. Welcome, Olive.
Thank you very much, Barbara. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Olive. And to my left is Mr. Tony Otoa. You all know him. I mean, if you're not on social, then maybe not. But this is the dude that drives our social media. Ladies and gentlemen, to my left, Mr. Tony Otoa, the CE of the Stanbic Incubator, presently Chief Executive. But just to let you know, his expertise spans, and you've seen that, across the oil and gas sector, entrepreneurship, communication strategy, and innovation, both in Uganda and in the United Kingdom. He has worked as a national content manager at Total Exploration and Production. Now you know where he gets his oil and gas content. Tony worked with the civil society in the UK and Uganda to plan, develop, commitment to drive, ensuring that Uganda becomes a wonderful region competitor in the oil and gas sector. He also speaks passionately about participation of Ugandans in the sector, and you've seen that. That one I don't even need to say again. Also in environment protection and robust revenue management. Tony comes with a vast expertise in the SME sector and how SMEs can revitalize and grow so that you, as a person in the SME space, can be at the same level with SMEs internationally. Mr. Tony Otoa, welcome to the discussion.
Where is Tony? Because that was a very interesting introduction, but thank you. Thank you.
Welcome, Tony. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to dive right into it. This thing called networks. You know, I was looking at the poll, and a lot of us were saying we are leaders. What was that? The leaders, I think, was a certain percentage when they asked, you know, in your group, where do you lie? But ladies and gentlemen, I hope being a leader doesn't mean you have the latest Mercedes-Benz or you're the one buying the most drinks for your people. Because if that is what leadership means, then again, like I mentioned, a strong coffee, we need to reevaluate that. Ladies and gentlemen, when we come to talking about our networks, in what an Englishman would say, your social capital, it has nothing to do with the tangible things that you see, aka the car that I have, the house that I have, and so on and so forth. It has everything to do with building you to be the person that needs to build others to reach where they are, whether it is from a financial aspect, from a social aspect, whatever aspect it is. So there are so many variations on what networks are, but we need to understand how critical those networks are when we are talking about our financial independence, and also us as individuals when we need to actually move through and do what it is we are supposed to do. So Olive, I know, and I have, and we've walked this journey together for a very, very long time. But you have been a leader in so many spaces, and for me, you have been a very strong inspiration, being a woman, because women, we don't have very many role models. So when you see a woman who has moved from one strong foundation to another and leaving a mark, you want to stop and ask yourself, "Achkolatia." So, Olive, in the topic that we're talking about today, which is social capital, along your career path, how did you build yours to reach where you are today?
Okay, thank you very much, Barbara. I'm humbled and honored to be one of your mentors. And I must say that my journey is long.
Yeah.
From where I have been, where I've come from, to where I am, the one constant that has been strong is the networks. And when I look at the networks, I start right from my school. Because sometimes we look at networks and we want to focus on networks now, where I'm working. But the networks that you build and grow with you start as far back as when you're in school. So my simple journey, I've been a very active person right from school. And I remember when I can't go through all the background and the history, but one of the things that I looked out for from the beginning is to build networks in every single step that I took. In my senior 6, I started baking. Sometimes we think networks will only be in the formal employment.
That's true.
I was baking cakes, and I would give these cakes to all the supermarkets in Ginger.
Wow.
And then I would go with this small notebook, which had, most of them were Indians running the supermarkets. And then with my notebook, and had the contacts of the people. And then I would come in and say, I gave you 50 cakes the other day, and that is my vacation. So I had that network that I built in Ginger as a town, as far back as senior 6.
Wow.
And I can tell you that that network today, I can mention them on my fingertips. Whether they are successful businessmen, some of them have been ministers, some of them are members of parliament, some of them are doing the jobs we do, but they remember me then. And in that network, what I remember so well is the values. The values must work together, because for somebody to accept to be in your network and for you to benefit from that network, they must know you for something, either trustworthy, very accountable. So even when you go to collect this money that far back, you were very, very truthful in whatever you did. So when you find those, and I remember some of them, there's Mutasa Kafero owning hotels,
Wow.
there are Bashara owning, all these have become very successful, but if they find me today, they remember me.
So you're never
That
too
network.
young, Olive,
No.
to start building
You're
your
never
networks.
too young. It means don't wait to start your network only now. We saw the age group, I think 20 to 40. It's not too late. You can start, but the issue is that you must be deliberate.
True.
Networks cannot be accidental. If you hope to just get the networks and make use of them, it is almost impossible. So one of the things I did when I joined university, I could also say that I loved TV. So I started running a program on TV in my first year. At the same time, I was writing articles in the newspapers because I was doing mass communication. So I said I need to start. So I went out of the university, started publishing articles went to do TV, continued with my cake baking. All those were networks that were teaching me one or two things. Because you can't build a network that doesn't teach you
That's
something.
true.
And that goes on. So I get into formal employment, still the networks. What I know is that when you build strong networks based on values, you to the next level. You'll want to run a business and you'll want to go in there and borrow this money. But there are people who walk in and say Olive needs 100 million. And somebody will say, process that money for her. They have your network, they know you, yes, but your network has been built on certain values. And that's what a network should be. So one of the things I've been doing, if you check my diary, I always have my diaries, I have segmented my networks very clearly. Specific networks for specific things.
Okay.
I have the political, if you go to my phone right now, you'll find the networks of politicians, you'll find the networks of businessmen, you'll find networks of my students, my fellow colleagues at school, you'll find networks from the boardrooms that I've been in, meaning that it is deliberate.
Okay.
And every network has a purpose, why you need it. And then you must service that network.
Okay, so just maybe to go back and retaliate what you're trying to say. Because a lot of us think that building my networks is who can be my friend, mukwano gwange. But what I'm hearing here from you today is it has nothing to do. Friends are good to have. That is fine. But your network has to speak to you personally first. Because if someone does not trust you first, there is no way you can be able to grow with that network. So values are very critical. And your values started at a much younger age. I like what you said when you talked about segmenting. I wanted us to shed more light on that. Why would you want to segment? I thought if I have friends, I just go and pick on them as and when. Why do you segment? How does that help you? Why do you segment your networks? Yes.
Okay. I think why I've said the segmenting, because the networks must be networks of a purpose.
Okay.
That means when you're building this network, there's something that you are actually focusing on. I will give you an example. There's a time, if you went in my phone, you'll find about 20 police people. Fort Poto, Gulu, Entebbe, so whatever. So those, they are under police, and you'll find them there. When I get into Fort Poto, and I have met this policeman, and for one reason or another, I talk to them and engage them, I save their number. But I service those networks, meaning I keep checking on how we are progressing, how they are doing, and what is going on.
Okay.
Just as a network.
Okay.
The reason of segmenting is that when there's somebody, these networks also help us to help others.
Yes.
Somebody calls me from Gulu and says, Olive, I've been involved in an accident and I'm stuck.
I hear you.
When I go to my phone, I know the police to engage.
Hear you.
And when I call this policeman, he says, Mama, how are you?
I hear
Madam
you. Yeah.
Olive, I still have your number.
Can you imagine?
Okay. So the relationship connects. When we go to politics, at one time I was in the early politics of student. But when you go to politics, in your normal life, there will be time when you need something. I was in SOS, and we had to get the Children's Act passed in Parliament of Uganda. I needed my networks,
Exactly.
political networks at that time
Understandable.
as a country director. I went in, called Jacob Olanya, the late. May his soul rest in peace.
Amen.
I go to the former speaker, Rebecca Kadaga, who was older than me, of course, but a network. And I said, we want to come up with the Children's Act. And had never been passed in 10 years. So you segment those networks basing on certain things. And when you follow them, we call it water them, service them, they come up to help you. And the act was passed, the Children's Act.
Yeah.
For the first time
I remember
in 10
that.
years was
Yes.
passed through networks and members of parliament to say, walk the path with me, talk to them. So
Thank you so much.
that's the beauty of segmenting.
Yeah, thank you so much, Olive, for that. And ladies and gentlemen, you've had it. At the end of the day, the network you build has to be purposeful. Why are you building that network? There has to be something that it is going to feed into. So that network is like a seed that you're planting and you have to keep watering it, because at the point at which you need it, then things will start to happen. And you've heard from Olive, passing a children's act. I remember that my mom and I were sitting together. We were very excited when we heard about that. We're very passionate about children, both of us. So you can imagine such, but Olive could only achieve that without, it wasn't necessarily because she had money in her pockets. It had nothing to do with money in her pockets. It had everything to do with the relationships around her that spoke to her vision. Tony, I want to pass this question to you, because I know the experiences are quite different and your journey has been a lot more from a completely different perspective. You like people to develop from a, but please do it mindfully. Don't just own kasente for owning, but if you need, whether you need to build a business, whatever you need to do, but everything you've been doing all along, through anyone who looks at your history can see how passionate you are about growing others in that space. So how have you built your social capital over the years, and how has it helped you succeed to where you are today?
Okay. So it's always a very interesting thing, when you talk about networks, and I'm glad. I think I also saw a video of you talking about it. Your network is your network.
It is.
If you look through your phone and you do not have 10 people who can support you on your business journey, throw away that phone. If you have a phone and it only has people who are there for enjoyments, throw away that phone.
Yeah.
So ideally, networking is something that's crucial, and it's something that we all learn. When we are young, in our 20s. I saw the poll. It had some people who were in their 20s. Some things are not priorities, but I'm just glad Olive, took on that intentionality at a very early age. That was before 20, I guess. You see, so that intentionality happened for her below 20. Not very many young people have that in their lives. But I think for me, personally, it's been an interesting one. From my hustle days, and again, I'll probably just detail a few of them. From leaving high school in my senior 6 vacation to becoming a ton boy and moving around the country on a truck. Doing all these businesses, moving fish from Ginger in Masese all the way to whatever.
Tony,
all of
really?
those, but
Wow.
all of those, interestingly, were ideas around networking, because you're moving in between towns and you're connecting with people. At that time, by the way, there were no phones. You need to remember that. So it was also a very tricky thing in terms of keeping tabs with your networks. But moving forward, I joined the media. And how I joined the media, again, was very much around the people I knew before, or how I knew the process of getting in. And again, this is also through networks. But moving fast forward, if you look at the trajectory of course, it took a while to get back into school, close to 6 years of, doing my hustle in the UK, learning a few things here and there, cooking, where I was a grillsman. But all the jobs and opportunities were about networking. You meet someone who tells you about the next opportunity.
That's
you
true.
meet someone who tells you something better is the other side. But usually how that happens, or how that happened for me, was very much around going out. A lot of people say, oh, I'm an introvert, I can't go out and meet people, I can't go out and interact with people. The only way you can actually put yourself out there is by being the first person to make that approach.
That's true.
If we're at an event, a social event, there's no way you can know about me or you can engage with me if I have not made the initiative or taken the initiative to go up to you and say, hello, my name is Tony Otoa, this is me, this is what I do. What do you do? Start the rapport. And interestingly, by the way, it's also about really showing up. A lot of the time, what I have noticed is we tend to think that people assume, or we tend to assume people know us.
That's true.
You walk into a room and people know this is Barbara Kaseke and this is what she does. It's not the case. Some people are probably, not people who are on social media, so they don't know you.
That's true.
But it's all about engaging with people more and more. So I move out of that situation, get into school, university, do my undergrad and master's. All of the opportunities I have had ever since I left university are not because of job applications, but it's because of how I know and who I know.
Yes.
in the sense that you show yourself and show your abilities or skills, and the market simply gets attracted to that conversation. And eventually, you'll find people saying, this guy can actually do this thing. We know a guy who is out there in the market. How about we headhunt him and bring him to do this thing? And that's how it works. A lot of the time, we assume that because you're so intelligent in school, you have and you're an A-class student. You're so intelligent at a point that your school intelligence will work for you in the real world. The inconvenient truth is, the real world is about showing what more you can bring on the table, what value you can bring on the table. You can only bring value on the table if, one, you can communicate it very well, if you can articulate it very well. But if you can show up, what events are out there that speak to what you like doing?
That's true.
What conversations or groups or chats are out there that speak to where you can show people what you can do? You can add value, but also pick value, because it's a two-way street.
That's true.
So it's about giving value and taking value. But most important of all in networking, and the idea around networking, is going the extra mile to provide more than what you're going to get out of that. You see, if you go into a networking situation and you know for sure that you are giving more, there's a psychological effect to that, in the sense that people notice that, and they tend to give back, or tend to associate with you more, because you give more. You give more.
That's true. The more you give.
A lot of the time in our situations, and I'm glad Olivia is a marketer, we always have this thing of kantu kange. I'll keep it. It's my idea. Let me share it. If I share it, people will steal it. That idea can never grow unless you share it in your networks.
That's true.
For people to bash it, to challenge it, and let it grow.
That's true.
In the world that I live in, the entrepreneurship world, that's the only way you can actually get your market out, your product out there for the market to find out, or to road test it and see if it's worth it. So networking for me has been that journey where it's just been about growing, sharing, giving more, connecting, learning and learning, but most important of all, getting to learn new things in terrains where I've never been. That kind of thing.
No, thank you, Tony. I like this. You said show up. Ladies and gentlemen, you need to show up. I mean, what Tony said is very true. If you want to drive these partnerships and people do not know you, how will they know you if you haven't shown up? So vamujitanda, get out there and let people see you so that they can support you. Tony, I want to ask you one other question in this realm. So I say I call it the corporate syndrome. With the corporate syndrome, you've worked for some time. Now you have your small business there. You think because you have worked somewhere, you can just go and pick some of your NSSF money, then borrow maybe from Stanbic, first run to UDB and first do a huge business case. How do we change that mindset of, because I have been employed, I am entitled to certain, how would you call it, to certain things in life for me to grow my business? Because I have been employed, I know my social network for me is because I know so and so in Stanbic, I know a Barbara in UDB, even there's Apollo who teaches that financial, I can call him, but already I'm very money minded. That's all I'm thinking about. There's nothing else that I'm thinking about to change that scenario. So for somebody like that, what would be your 2 cents as they think that they're, that is where they belong? What can we do to change that mindset?
So first of all, I've always said the day you stop learning is the day you start dying. You assume you have reached a certain point where it's okay to do whatever I mean, when you get to the point where you feel you can do whatever you can do, and you're leveraging on who you know, that's a great thing. But like Olive talked about segmenting, my guy at Stanbic might not be the guy who will want my product, potentially. Meaning I have to step out. I have to show up in other places to speak about my product, to talk about my product. And that speaks to the whole idea of getting out there, engaging more, speaking more about what you do, but who you are. And a lot of the time, you'll also realize that the corporate world has one inconvenient truth. Barbara, who you are today in the corporate world is not how we shall see you when you step out into the real world.
Oh, that's true. Huh?
And by the way, in the real world, we won't even listen to you because you do not have that role anymore.
That's true.
Okay? So you start now flexing. Now, I know many people... Listen, first of all, a disclaimer. I have no right to speak about how people use or spend their money. That's entirely up to them. But the harsh reality is, a lot of the time, from the corporate world, when we jump out and say we're going to do something just because we're seeing other people doing it, we tend to fail. And why do we tend to fail? We fail to understand the complexities of what it takes to manage and sustain a business that kind of setup. I can't just jump out and say I'm going to Chikubo to operate a shop in Chikubo. You know why? I would fail miserably. And I'll tell you why I'll fail miserably. Chikubo is probably one of the most networked areas in this city.
That's true. It's who you know.
One guy in one shop is leveraging off the stock of another guy in 5 shops. If I jumped in without understanding how that network works,
that's true,
and using it to be able to engage, there's no way I'm going to compete with that guy. Same thing in the oil and gas sector. People think it's just, an open minefield. You go and enjoy yourself.
Yeah,
it's about networks. If, Barbara, you have a job opportunity and I know for sure you need someone to support you in improving on your capacity, I will rally a team and be able to come and support you. That is how we all make money. Our problem is we assume that being in the corporate world, you are intelligent, you know everything, you're Kalimagezi, right? But this is the inconvenient truth. The inconvenient truth is the day you stop learning, the day you fail to add wisdom onto your tab, you're lying to yourself. So, in my opinion, I would just simply say it's great for us to have side hustles, but I don't like to think of them as side hustles. A lot of the time, we are in comfort zones in the corporate world just because we are scared.
That's true.
We are simply scared. But the real opportunity is in your what you call your side hustle. Ka business kange. It's your real business.
That's true.
It shouldn't be your side. You'll actually find out that you enjoy it more other than coming and complaining. Like today, I know there are thousands of people who complained about today after that long nice weekend. So it should, we should start thinking about how we think about our businesses, not like a side hustle or whatever. It should be something that we can make the best out of in ways of improving ourselves, but also just like Sir Headmaster said, the guys who provide jobs, the guys who own jobs, right? Not the self-employed.
Not the self-employed guy.
Who employ people, the guys who own the jobs. That's the thinking.
Okay, so what I get from this, Tony, is let us stop calling them side hustles. In fact, that's where we need to build our networks even more, because we are already in a comfort zone as being employed. Because I know our audience there, most of the guys out there are employed, and that's why I wanted to pose this question. So it shouldn't just be a side hustle. If it's a side hustle, it must be something you enjoy. That should be deliberate enough for you to start building networks around it. So if the side hustle is like what Barbara loves to do, you have to make sure you're in those spaces where you do that. So Olive, shed some light on that. So in regards to what Tony has said, and Tony is right, so let's stop being very comfortable. You have seen your people across all sectors that you've worked in. What would you say, especially to a lot of us that are in our comfort zone? What message would you have for those people? Especially if you want to remain in the corporate sector, that's one thing. But we all know like retirement is knocking around the corner. So if we don't have, and as Tony said, when you're done, you're done. So when you're a manager or head of something, after you leave, it is gone, it is finished. Then what? So how do we change that mindset of employees, as a leader, of employees in an organization, for them to start thinking out of the box? So that at the time they say, my time with, for example, NSSF is done. Sigenda kagwiramu, when I get my NSSF money, I go to Dubai and spend it in 1 week, but at least I know exactly what it is I am supposed to do to move on.
Okay, you're very right, Barbara, and just like Tony has said, thank you, Tony, you raised a number of those areas. I must say, just like Tony said, we call it a side, what do you call it?
A side hustle.
Side hustle or side something, because we think the life where we are is more priority than that. But the reality or the truth of the matter is that is the long-term lasting project that you'll ever have, because the job has a beginning and an end. Either it has 50 years of age, or somebody will wake up one morning and say, good, thank you very much for your service, it's enough with you. And the side income or the side business becomes the only fallback position that you have. So for me, I think I agree with what Tony has said, that we need to find a way of creating time in that and building those networks beyond, because those networks outlive us. That's what I've seen out of
That's
that.
true.
They outlive us. Those networks will find the Olive's daughter or the Tony's son and still connect with that person. Because when we go to build those relationships there as networks, we are building them for the long term.
Yes.
So the values that I talked about, the relationship, the care, if it's money, you're actually counting the coin.
That's true.
From the corporate, you'll get $1 million and you'll just go and buy a takeaway. That time you're spending on this other particular business, you're actually counting the coin.
That's true.
And that coin grows one after another. So if I'm to look at the young people that are still in employment right now, it's something you need to start thinking about. Don't just wake up one morning and go, like Tony has said, go to Rome Street and open, these women who sell gomezes, very expensive gomezes. You're in there and you see the lady selling 2 million shillings and you say,
that's
tomorrow
what I want
I'm
to
coming
do.
in here.
Yes.
I've had a friend who did that. She went in there and also paid rent for 1 year and said, I'm getting my money from NSSF, and said, are you sure? Said, I'm sure. She went with the ladies, they bought the gomezes, came back, put them in the shop. The following day, her gomezes were more expensive than theirs.
Oh my goodness.
So exactly that's from the corporate life to wanting to go to this street and do it for the first time because I see what people are doing. I think we need to think through it. We need to plan it properly. The advantage is that when you start it and you don't have the salaries to give, you get your own salary from the pocket and put it in there. But as I said, it has to be deliberate. And the networks that you're going to take that side, you need to start working on them now.
Yes.
You need to work on them now. And these networks may not be necessarily in your formal employment. They could be networks that come in from other areas.
Exactly.
I'm going to give you an example. Young people, maybe I saw 20 to 40, we need to be willing to get out of our comfort zone. Sometimes your boss comes in and says, can you go and represent me at this meeting?
True, huh?
And everybody is busy. The lady is saying, I have to rush to pick my kids from school. The other one saying, oh my God, it's 5 o'clock, I have to be home. Like Tony said, those who say I'm closed in, but I want networks.
Yeah.
And you want, you can't have, they say you can't have your cake and eat it
too.
But again, I want to be home. But then you want the networks. They won't come. An example I can give, my first board of appointment, because I've been on about 8 boards. That's USO, Uganda Women's Effort to Save Orphans. As in my office, and the MD came in and said, Olive, I'm so busy. It's in a hurry. And that's Richard in NSSF. I hope he knows it. And he was looking for somebody to represent him in Hotel Africana. I rang somebody and said, could you pick my kids from school? And I went to Africana. When you're in there, make yourself relevant. When the whole discussion had happened, I put up my hand where everybody was thinking, how am I going to ask?
I know.
Asked something about branding and said, how are you going to build the entrepreneur business? That is the women business kind of association.
You will.
Running, you will. I said, how are you going to build the brand? And the chairperson, Mebo Chigun, said, my God, 2 weeks later, they were calling me to say, can you come in and give us that part of yours on the board?
Wow.
So those are the networks. And when you find that book outside as you enter the conference, don't jump. Put your name. Because Mebo found my name in that book and telephone number. Those are networks. So when you look at the networks, don't wait for these formal things that they'll just come in there. I wanted a place for my daughter, and I said, I never went to Gayaza. I drove to Gayaza. And I didn't know where the school was. And I said, I want to see the headmistress. But what did I do? I went in November before they start P7. Because at that time, the head teachers are free. They don't have lines of people. They don't have everybody waiting. And then I came back. I was still with NSSF with young daughters. And the headmistress rang and said, I'm told you want to talk to me. I said, yes. Said, I'm in Kampala. I said, can we meet?
Can you imagine?
We met in Kampala. She said, I'm dressed in this way. I'm in this car. And I also said, I'm dressed like this. So for me, the networks, and I told myself, I have to go and build this network. I can't wait to look for somebody to find me a place.
Absolutely.
In this school. So that's why I said you must be deliberate. You must look at everything from a certain age. I wasn't 40 then. I was below that. But I was thinking that way. So the group in here, can actually think that way, but they must be deliberate on that. And that's what I could talk about that, yeah.
Olive, you've actually hit the nail on the head. A lot of times people think because I am a certain way, abantu bajja kunsanga, that people will find me. Ladies and gentlemen, if you do not take that deliberate effort to go and find that network that you need to grow, it will not come to you. And one thing I also wanted to add, a lot of times, and I like what you did, NSSF, I liked the poll that you took in regards to networks. Networks, as Olive had mentioned, which was very critical, she segments her networks. We have different networks for different things. I could be wanting a mentor to support me as I grow, for example, the business advisory department at UDB. Tony would want someone as he's growing the oil and gas agenda, and there are people that he needs to help him grow that realm. We all need particular networks for particular things. Ladies and gentlemen, one person cannot be everything. You also will need, and this is something that I really want to stress, when we talk about social capital, we are human beings. Human beings, you need those things that keep you grounded. One could be your spirituality. You need someone, you need a network to help you in your spiritual journey. Two, you need someone who needs to tell you, I think you're doing too many things. Maybe let us focus here. You need that person to tell you, and even if you hate them, it doesn't matter. That person needs to tell you that, Barbara, time has come. Now let us focus. I think this is where your energy lies. That is another set of networks. You need a network where you can cry on your shoulder, because life can be really hard. You need that network that can listen to you when things are hard and give you that confidence for you to move ahead. So, ladies and gentlemen, in your networks, I have to say this, and I say this every day. In your network, if you're a king and a queen, please run away very fast, because that means you're not growing as an individual. Bobera mu network, you're the one who buys the drinks, you're the one who has to buy the latest car. As a woman, you have to have the latest dress so that you look the smartest. There's a problem with that network, because that means it is not speaking to your worth. It is not speaking to that value. It is not speaking to that purpose. And if your personal purpose is not defined, I can tell you right now, there is no way your financial one will be, because the two have to be aligned. So what networks are you keeping? And if you do not know what they are, this is the time to sit down and segment them. And it is not too late to change them. It is not bad to let someone go. People come for a season. They come and they go. But you need the right network that speaks to your value and to your purpose. And that is critical for you to grow. So before we move on to the discussion, we asked a question earlier on what you guys think social capital is. It is very interesting. Actually, a lot of people got some things here. Some of you copied from Google. But I will forgive you, because today I'm being very giving. They say the more you give, the more is given to you. So I'm being very giving. But anyway, our top 10 guys. So Charles Godfrey Biamgisha, thank you so much. Logose Jovia Vanessa, Esther, I think this is Esther Ogwango, Esther Ogwal. We have Ozele Roscoe. We have Namara Caroline. And we have Fatima. Cosmo Mugisha, Elsie Mohomoza, Emi Babu, Rachel John Opira. Guys, thank you for your definition. Actually, all of you are practically close to what we were talking about. Now, I am hoping that now you know what that means. We can go and experiment on it to ensure that we grow in the direction in which we need to grow. So I think before we go on, Sir, Mr. Headmaster, sir, I wanted to pose a question to you, sir.
Yes. Yes, Barbara.
Before we go on, when you gave these statistics, like I said, I was overwhelmed by the fact that we are where we are today. Yet, you're the ones that are helping us be able to have that brighter future for ourselves and Uganda overall. Is there something that, apart from webinars like this, is there something that NSSF is doing around mindset shift? so that people can know that, yes, you have saved the money, that's nice, but there are other things that you can know. Is there something we're doing about mindset shift as NSSF on your journey?
Thank you, Barbara. I need to commend you that you're the first student in the headmaster's class that has summoned the headmaster and asked a question. You might have to visit the BASA. We are going to review your balances and definitely. Thank you. As NSSF, of course, as NSSF, we have decided to do this not as an event, but we want financial literacy to be a lifestyle. So webinars is one of the things that we do, but we have actually decided to become customized to every individual's need. Now, I have 1.2 million customers. These 1.2 million customers are part of the 40 million people in Uganda. So meaning, for every one of my customers, there are 4 people looking at them, looking at their money. So my programs can't only stop at my customers. They go down to their children, their parents. So our programs run from all different ages. We have something for the children, people below 6 years to 10 years. And we go down to them, and during holidays, we have camps. We call them up. Let's talk about money. Let's talk about what you want to be. Why are we doing this? Because we know my customer, my member is going to pick money and take a child to a UK university because the child has demanded. But if I go to this child and they actually understand, they even start saving for their own education. So if their parent gives them up to university, they will be able to take on themselves. So we have those programs for the children. We have programs at the workplaces for people who have just, before you go to the workplace, we have the university. At the university, through, again, half former department, marketing, we have what we call the Career Expo. We open up the money conversation in there. The idea behind this money conversation, and we are deliberate on the word money conversation, is so that we put it in your head, push it in your face. This conversation needs to open up. We grew up not talking about money. When you talked about money, you were a thief. That one is going to steal. But now we need to open up. Very many people, and in our networks, we have a football network. Most of us have a football network. So wake up in the morning and we shall discuss. We shall dedicate an hour to discussing about how Arsenal beat these people. Then
that's true.
I'm not sure which team Tony is, but he will fire one of his coaches in the UK. He will say that one is not. I'm firing them. But it has really, his conversation has no consequence on the other person. That person keeps getting money. So we are saying that when we have time to discuss about that, let's also create time to discuss about money. So we go into the workplace and we say, let's discuss money. Most times, and we are happy to the employers who have given us access, like CAA. Sometimes people, when you talk about money, the employers think you are taking their employees away.
That's true.
But we have gotten to learn that the more we talk about money, the more allow me to just get into Tony's field. You cannot succeed as a corporate employee. You cannot succeed in the business world if you have failed to deliver in the corporate world.
That's true.
You are mediocre in a place where you are supervised. Then you think you can succeed in the place where there is no supervision. You can't. So
we hear you, headmaster.
We have programs around that. We have programs for the friends. You have seen Friends with Benefit for the people who are leaving. So it's quite a range. These programs, you can access them through our website. Just go to our website, and we have right now an above the line campaign where you have seen billboards from employer to employee, from employee to employer. That's us. You've seen something on the TV running. We just want to have the money conversation. We want to have a piece of someone's life to just take off 2 minutes to think about why they actually studied, why they actually go to work. You go to work to become better. Are you becoming better or worse? True. So we have quite a number of those. But thank you, Barbara, for asking that question. Let me also pose a question to the audience before I bring in one of the persons that is trying to build a network to give you questions from the audience. But if the back office team can bring that poll question, I want to just share the last poll question so that the panel knows who they are talking to. And while they're bringing that up, I just want to bring this up. Tony said, show up.
Yes.
Yeah, show up. When you show up, show off. Don't be humble about success. They do not apologize for your success. Show off meaningfully. Throw away. I got this. Throw away. If your phone, in your phone, you don't have 10 people to help you with your dream, throw it away. Guys, I'm receiving phones. Throw them this side. Throw them. Throw away the corporate syndrome. So I'm quite learning a lot. We are asking, rate the likelihood of your social network, your social cycle, to crystallize the likelihood of your social your social cycle to crystallize into financial capital. 5 being they are very likely they will definitely crystallize into social capital. 1 that these ones I have them, they are my friends, but they won't help me. I just have them because they are my friends. So rate that. How likely is your social cycle? How likely is it to crystallize into financial capital? Number 2, has your network influenced your net worth? Has your network influenced your network? It is a yes, a no, or I don't know. When you look around, Barbara said if you are king in that network, you throw them away. You need to go to another way because they are not. So in 2 seconds, we should pull down this and we see the answers. Let's see the answers. Let's see the answers. I remind you that as NSSF, we will keep doing this because we want to be of purpose to you. We will keep bringing the different professionals, the different individuals here that influence the market. We will keep being that person that can join you to a network. I mean, we all know, we probably have heard of Tony. Have you seen him? NSSF has done that for you. And even today, I told you I'm already feeling the difference in my network. I'm going to shake his hand. I'm on Twitter today. Tony, I need to report to you that I have gained 45 Twitter followers. And when I post your photo, I will gain another. And I'm very deliberate. I need those that can help me. Let me see the results. Yes, let's see the results. Let's see the results of our poll. The back office team. Thank you so much. The majority of the people are in the mid. 38%. They're not sure. Their networks may turn on, may not turn.
We need to reevaluate those networks because you cannot be sure if the network will either it will turn or it will not. In this conversation, Sir Headmaster, sir,
yes, sir,
we cannot have I do not know, maybe I am sure. That means that network is not needed. Throw it away.
And interestingly, only 10% say that their social networks are likely to crystallize into financial capital. But when we go down, has your network changed? Net worth. Has your network influenced your net worth? Has your network influenced your net worth? 64% of the people are saying yes.
Okay.
26% of the people are saying no. And 11% of the people are saying they don't know. So let's start from there. Who should throw away who? When should they throw them away? And at what rate? What are those kind of words that they should use as they are telling them? As I leave this, I got someone talking about an answering machine, and they had a ringtone, and they're saying, they had an answering, their tone was, I will call you back. I'm busy right now. I'll call you back. But if I am busy making changes in my life, if I don't call you back, you are one of those changes.
That is a good way to start.
I don't know. How should they do this? Thank you so much. Over to you, Barbara.
Thank you so much, Sir Headmaster. Sir. Wow, the polls actually brought a lot of things to light. Ladies and gentlemen, one thing I know about us human beings, we worry a lot about how others feel if they're not part of our lives. But honestly, if I pose to you the question, those people, especially I'm asking those people who say, I don't know, I'm sure, maybe. If today you decided to go to America and you stayed there for 5 years and never spoke to them, will your life change? Or won't it change? My thing is, if someone is not adding any value to your life, I can tell you right now for a fact, you will sleep better when you let them go. Your stress levels will go down a lot more when you let them go. You will save your money when you let them go. And remember, even in the Bible, it says to everything there is a season. People come into our lives and go. In my own personal journey, I cannot tell you how many people I know. I know quite a number. But everybody that came into my life, taught me something. When that something ended, they went. And by the way, your network doesn't have to stay with you for 100 years. Nida. Because someone can come into your life and do what they need to do then, and it ends. And after that, you can move on to bigger and better things. And it's good that they helped you. There is nothing wrong with the fact that if someone has stopped, you let them go and let them continue. Nothing will change. They will talk to you. They will stop. How many things do we see people writing about each other in the newspaper? The next day, another new headline comes. Ladies and gentlemen, a lot of us as human beings, we cannot live our lives for other people. We have to live lives for ourselves first so that we can impact other people in a positive way. And when we do that, we can also grow our financial pockets in a positive way as well. And talking about that, I think as we are waiting for the questions to come in, I want to talk about the element of giving when we are talking about our social networks. Tony, I'm going to start with you. How does giving come into this sequence? And you touched just a little bit about it, but I want us to shed some more light. Why would giving be critical in social networks? Why would I give? I'm out there, Nange, looking for people to help me. Why do I also have to give at Nange? You know, like spending more of my money, my time, my what? Why do I have to give to grow my social networks? Just to shed some more light on that.
So something that we all need to understand is that we all have gifts or something great about us, inherent in us.
Yes.
Some of us have not discovered it yet, but we all have that special thing. And that's what adds value, or something that we can speak out with confidence in terms of sharing it. I know for a fact I like to speak. It's one of the things that I enjoy doing. It's my gift. If I am meeting Barbara, I can share with you as much as I can on the speaking part of things. But you know, the interesting thing is, the more I teach you, is the more I become better.
That's true. That's true.
If I hold it back or decide to give you less, it doesn't really help. Yesterday, I decided to join a couple of friends of mine who were in this conversation around what to do next and how to invest in the whole area, looking for ideas. In the short time that we were together, less than an hour, I was able to share with them so many contacts who could support them on their financial journey, so many contacts who could support them with the area where they want to go and locate themselves, so many things that they would have gone around and around looking for in less than an hour. But you see, the beauty is that's a network. I gave without expectations.
Exactly.
But I know for sure they will definitely need me one time, or when I need them, they'll
be available.
So it's all about just being able to say, how do I go beyond this? But also speaking about the same thing, I don't know if you've heard of the 6 degrees of separation. 6 degrees of separation is one of the best ways I can explain networking to anyone who doesn't really understand networking. Let's say Tony Otoa, as small as I am, I want to meet Obama. And by the way, one day it will happen.
Yay.
But let's assume I want to meet Obama. I know for sure I have no direct link to Obama. However, I know a friend who could potentially have a link. Now, if I contact that friend and he doesn't have that link, I know for sure he will have someone who now has that link.
Yes.
So let's imagine Tony Otoa has 6 people around him, and I contact the 6 people. The 6 people also have 6 people around them. And those 6 people also have other 6 people around them. That's a network.
That's true.
One of them will contact another, and another will contact another. And within no time, you will find that the loop has been closed before the 6th person. I'm actually now meeting Obama. That is the power of networking. Networking is about doing that. Now, it brings back the core thing that Olive talked about. Staying in touch. You go to a conference or an event, you just give your business card. You don't even email the guy to say, it was nice meeting you. And then your business card is so plain and boring that if I look at it, I won't even remember.
Throw it in the trash.
You know, I was at an oil and gas conference last week, and the guy said, well, I gave him a card, and he said, in a joking way, thank you for adding more material to my fireplace. I said, wow. And now, the art of networking is about being very ingenious in how you present yourself.
Exactly.
No, you know, some young guys have come up with a digital business card. I don't have to carry paper along.
That's true.
I just say, hey, Barbara, hi, nice meeting you. You know, and I get my card, place it on your phone,
and that's
the
it.
details come up, and it simply says, add contact.
Yes.
Now, I can never forget you if you do that. I'll be like, wow, the guy with that crazy card,
That's
you know,
true.
and I'll
That's
look
true.
for you.
That's true.
But some of us just show up. Hi, my name is Tony. I like what you do. Yeah. In fact, in future we should. I want to see you in future.
Those
Trust
are the
me,
ones
I
in
will
that
avoid
3%.
seeing you in future because your energy is random. And again, back to how you show up.
Showing up.
You only have 30 seconds to impress.
That's true.
Be it in
30
business,
seconds.
be it
Yeah.
30 seconds. Now, you come up and you waste your first 15 seconds. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I already switch off. But if you create an impression, if I was saying I'm moving on to the next guy, I will just keep myself an attention with you or to you.
That's
So
true.
it's very, very critical. So back to your answer. That's how I look at it.
No, I'm liking this. The 6 degrees of separation, guys. Tony is going to meet Obama. You, what do you want to do? Eh? You're hearing Obama things. Tony, I should join you on that one. But I think for me, what really stood out, and Tony is very, very right, guys. Automatically, even for me, in the first less than even a few seconds, I will know if I want to talk to you or not. Especially, my mind is of a 4-year-old. I do not have the time to listen to your long story. 30 seconds to impress. That looks like it is nothing, but you have no idea how horrible it is if you walk into a room and you're the guy who ends up sitting at the bar drinking something. You understand? Alone, if you know what I'm talking about. So going back to what I had asked, ladies and gentlemen, giving is very critical because giving does not mean you get money and you go and give something. It is giving of your talent, giving of your time, because even you as a person are social capital for another one. And just to let you know, every human being has at least, even a baby, at least 17 people looking up to them. At least 17 people. So you can imagine you yourself, you have at least 17 people looking at you as social capital. So this is where giving becomes very critical. One of the things I do, like I said, I'm very passionate about youth and women. So a lot of some of the talks I give for free. Because there are some groups of, you're not going to tell a school that yes, go ahead, I need so much money for me to come and talk to you. Absolutely not. That is the future of this country. And that's what giving is, because I know the seed I have planted in those kids. You know what's going to happen? A few 6, 7, 10 years from now, I know we'll have done something to improve their future. So Olive, I know you're a Rotarian. Banange Olive, you do so many things. Anyway. So I know this subject topic is true to your heart. So we just wanted to hear from you how critical giving is as you're walking this social capital journey.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think Tony said it when he talked about the advantages when you give. And I want to add and say, giving from the heart has impact.
Yes.
And because when you give, you want to see a change. You're not giving for the sake of giving. You're giving to see a change. What I have learned is that the more you give, the more your networks grow.
That's true.
The networks keep increasing because if you give knowledge to 10 people and they give the 10, they'll keep referring to you.
That's true.
So
Huh?
the time comes
6
and
degrees.
you need that network, you'll still get that network back. But you'll still get something out of it. So I have been, for me, giving is like in my heart.
I know.
You give different. Yeah. There are those you'll give because they are in need. Say you have to give the children or maybe orphans, they can't make it to school, and you're providing education. You're building a child from where they are to where they will be. In the next few years, you'll have given. You'll see the impact.
True.
And that will be a network. Because that network will work to say, I'm a product of Olive Lumonia. And that network, as we said, these networks will outlive you even more than the money you have built.
That's true.
Because as you exit and say, I'm in retirement, you need more people in retirement, more friends, more people to rely on than now. So when you keep building, I think give from the heart. Why do you want to give? you give, different people need to be given. The other one which I could comment on is, if you want to remove some of your networks, what you need to ask yourself, how am I going to do it? The manner in which you disentangle a network is very critical.
That's true.
Because if you don't, that network can turn around
and
become
destroy
a
you.
useful network to you, or destroying network. So in human being, just always know that you're dealing with human beings, not a book, not a chair. There's a life in the other person. So even as you give, there's a satisfaction it gives. And for me, what I believe, the more you give, the more you get.
That's true.
Because I think you get this, the more you get, because actually as you give, you have 500,000 shillings and you're giving away somebody whom you're supporting who has no meal, who can't go to education. You'll be more careful on how you use that money.
Exactly.
That's the meaning of saying the more you get. And the one who has 1 million and is only spending on chocolate, a beer and other things and can't give, they will spend 2 million the next week.
That's true.
Because it's excitement, and that excitement keeps increasing. If you're drinking from a bar which is smaller, you'll now go to a more expensive bar. Your jacket and your money will have increased to go to Serena. If you leave Serena, you'll go to the other.
Yeah,
you'll say,
that's
let's
true.
fly to Mombasa. So the giving, that adage of saying the more you give, the more you get. Because if you give, there's a way you look at the money, the value of the money, or the value of the knowledge.
Yes.
And for me, mentoring girls, mentoring young people is something close to my heart.
I know.
That if you woke me up, I still do it. I do it in schools. I'm invited to speak to them. It feels good. It makes you younger. That I can tell you.
Oh.
I saw those who are 20 to 40. Do it and you remain in that age group.
That's true.
These young people, I can tell you, they will come in and teach you how to use the phone. The way Tony was saying. They'll teach you. They'll say, Mom, you're looking for this and you've been looking for it for 1 week. And my daughter is saying, I wish you had told me. Because then she's doing it in five. So giving is across. Knowledge to young people, to middle people and older people. But you build your network bigger.
Thank you so much, Olive. You had the more you give. Please do not think go and give out because you're expecting to get. Banange, let us get this right. That's not what that means. So that you go out and give. Please give from the bottom of your heart, because even the higher power can see that. Before we get into the question and answer, I wanted to talk about something very small and very briefly, is how to grow your networks in a work environment. Ladies and gentlemen, we get a job. You get into your office, you put on your things on your desk, you come work for 8 hours, and then you go back home. Then you come back and do exactly the same thing. From even a health perspective, you cannot be a human being for 8 hours without interaction other than interaction in the bathroom or in the kitchen, without talking to anyone. There is a problem with that equation. So as we are talking about building networks, I want us to think about the networks we have now that are within our spaces. Like we looked at the polls I mentioned, the reason why we are very intentional about speaking about the workplace is because a lot of us are there. So if you're trying to build networks and you're thinking you want to go and attend a function where Tony Otoa is, or you want to go and attend a function where Olive Lumonia is, when the people that would know these people are sitting in your office, you're not doing yourself a service. So networks have to be built in the spaces you are in. I got to where I am today because of the networks I made in my workspaces, starting with Olive here. These were all my workspaces networks. So if you're in a workspace and something comes up, as Tony said, show up. Show up. And I like what Sir Headmaster said, show up and flaunt it. Okay? So that people can see what your worth is. You can't expect, even as we mentioned before, to build, for example, an enterprise, when in your entity right now, you come and you put on your things and not even say hi to the guard. Ladies and gentlemen, your networks starts with that policeman down at the gate, to that tea girl, to the lady who cleans that bathroom that you spoil when you go. To everyone, that is where your networks start. And once you build that, it is then easy for you. Do you know that people that know most of the things in an office are who? Messengers and the tea girls. And the Musidikale will say, nae madam olwalira ebintu si birungi. Then you'll know how to approach boss. These are the people that help you succeed in a workspace. If you cannot get that framework right, it will be very difficult for you to get that framework right in your personal spaces. So if you work with that, that is the same framework that you should take in your personal spaces. We are not saying throw away your friends per se, but we are saying in that framework that you have, can you actually grow with it? In the workplace, you're all looking to grow each other, not so? So you should be working with people that help you grow, not for gossip purposes, please. People that help you grow. And that same framework then will be led into other spaces. I am living proof of that. And I believe you too can do it. But the journey starts with you. So how do you build your networks in the workplaces? Let's continue chatting. Please put your questions in your chat boxes. Let's continue talking about this. I believe we can transform each other. I believe we can transform this country and reach where we need to be so that we call Uganda our home with pride. Over to your questions. We can't wait to hear what questions you have. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much, Barbara, for that passionate presentation right there on my network, my net worth. My name is Claire, and I work with the NSSF in the operational department, and I'm excited to be networking with the big boys right now.
And girls.
So I'll dive in deeply. I was so interested in what Olive said. We are never too young to network, and this starts from inception, from school to campus, and in our workplaces. So that takes me direct to a question that that I really wanted to redirect to you, Olive. What strategies can one use to deliberately access networks of influential persons in communities? You passionately talked about this and all the influential people you've met that you are rubbing shoulders with right now that actually make your work easy and your journey throughout, the workplace, your family life, your social life. So we're intrigued to know, and I am part of that community that wants to know this particularly. So over to you, Olive.
Wow. The strategies, of course. What I can say, they are not in paper. They are not something that the way we go and do the strategy for branding and say, I'm going to do this, and I write it down. When it comes to networks, there's the human part of it. But as Tony said, and I think Barbara said so, the grabbing of that moment. Because when you go to meet these networks, you don't meet them on a tree. They are somewhere in a room. Either there's a workshop, or there's a meeting, or it's a wedding, or it's a burial. There's some sort of meeting that you go in to meet people. Okay? So what I can say in that whole process, it depends on which network you're looking for. If it's a network from, say, the business angle, and you're saying, I need my strategies, you could also start with saying, who knows Barbara, for example. If I don't know Barbara, how do I get to Barbara? One thing that I have done, which I think you people need to do, which I have believed all my life, is that if I come to see you, you won't kill me. You won't shoot me. The only thing you'll say to me is no. Not possible, or yes. And because I have lived that, I can't list the people's offices that I've walked through in the last 15 years, where I just called in and said, and looked for the number for the secretary and said, I want to come and see so and so. And I went in there, and the secretary says, he comes in at 7. And who are you? Because even that is important. Who are you? And I have to find a reason of some sort. And I've gone in here. The reason I've gone in there is to say, I can stand on my own and speak. The only thing this guy or woman will do to me is to say, not possible. That has yielded results for me. There are people who came in, I think, when I was a bit younger, and said, wow, she has this confidence. She walked in and spoke to me. And they get interested in knowing a little bit about me. But I also have to understand who they are. Because that person, if you understand who they are, you'll know their mannerisms and character. I'm giving that because if you know that I'm a very conservative person, I love people who are very organized, people who are smart. I'm somebody who won't take somebody in a certain way. I'll come in dressed in that nature. So you must understand who you want to speak to. You must understand their time segments, because there are people you'll meet. There are those they will tell you, you do your background work. In this time, I remember in office, somebody says they are in the mood, they don't feel like seeing anybody. You all do those things in your places of work. How does the board, what is the boss's mood today? Do them in the network. They are strategies. So when you understand them, you'll say, okay, if I dress in a very short dress and I'm going to see this gentleman and he's a Hajj, immediately that network won't work. So it is deliberate, but you go in and understand who the person is whom you want to meet, what they do, what are their areas of interest, and sometimes go in there and present yourself. The other one, go through other people. What I have found is that going through other people takes more longer time, because like he said, it will leave Tony, it will go to Barbara, Barbara will find Mary. So if I'm trying to get to this person because there's a good opportunity, by the time we reach the circle, and I've seen that, they're saying, I wish you had come last month. So you need to manage that cycle in a shorter manner. Make yourself present. Like I said, workshops. If you've been invited to a workshop, go, ladies and gentlemen. Go knowledgeable. Go knowledgeable. Read a bit about the topic in that workshop.
Oh my God.
Don't go in to sit with the book. Go in so that when an opportunity comes in to say, we are talking about oil and gas, and they're talking about the changes in the global industry, your hand is up. That is the moment to grab. And that moment that you grab in that group will lead you to that person you're looking for. So you have to be deliberate. That's what I could give.
Can I actually just add on to that, because it's very, very interesting. You know, it's very important to be knowledgeable.
Yes.
Read about things that are not even within your line, so that when you're in a network or a situation, you're not out of place.
That's
you
true.
can contribute to the conversation.
That's true.
You know, interestingly, I saw a very good friend's tweet saying, 2 years ago we were very good epidemiology.
I saw that.
And then recently we were very good vaccine. But the beauty about that is that you can have a conversation with people at different times.
Yes.
But also getting into the different segments of people or networks. It's important for you to go in with a goal and a focus.
That's true.
Don't just show up just because you're showing up.
That's true.
You want to get ideas
That's
on
true.
investment, but you're in a group that is talking about something totally different.
That's true.
You need to go aligned with your focus and know what you want, and then use that as the basis for engaging with your knowledge and creating value.
And in fact, even to add on to that, I just want to mention, a lot of times people say, I was invited for this thing. I don't know these things. I don't think. Learn. Can I make you laugh? The one time I really got to know about this whole IPO business was when I was told, you're moderating tomorrow, this session. I said, but you know these things are for global markets and those guys. They said, no, Barbara, you're moderating. Yes, I had an idea about it, but I didn't have an idea. I have never read so much in my, thank God, to Namagunga days. But it took me time to study in detail. I got to know. I was like, this is actually a very simple topic. Why was I even worried about it? So by the time I actually went to moderate it, I knew it. So guys, when the chance comes and you need to get to know something, just do it. Go there, do it. And it's never too old. You're never too old. People who sent your bongo, excuse me, who told you? At 42, my bongo still perfect. So it's not too late for someone to keep learning and keep knowing. I like that you brought that out, Olive, because it is one of the things that we struggle with extensively, even when we do trainings for whether it is SMEs and stuff. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Someone comes and you actually have a business in something you have no idea about. Why? You know, and you're here for a session for something you have no idea about. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's never too late. We need to keep learning. And like Tony said, the time you stop learning is when you die. So let us keep alive.
Maybe the last one is just to add, you could also grab the empty moments. We call them empty moments of people's lives. Many times we all go in when somebody has lost someone. But actually there are thousands. But then when an advert comes in and says they are selling Olive's car because she's indebted, everybody hides away. Everybody keeps as far as possible. So what are those empty periods? Because that is the time where a serious network is actually formed.
Yeah.
And there are many of those. So in your strategy, that is one of the areas that I have used. For me, it has worked for me. You know, this member of parliament, one time he went through and he was a minister. This time he didn't go through, or they have reshuffled yesterday. And you're hiding far and far away.
Yeah.
That's the time your presence needs to be felt. And that's where the bond of networks actually connects. That can also result into your net worth.
I couldn't have said it any better. So we all have to be deliberate and intentional in everything we do every day, every waking day of our lives. So I'll go to Tony Otoa. You mentioned something very interesting in your presentation here. So you said every day we are selling our abilities and skills on the market, in the workplace. And this is what is going to make us. It either grows us or staggers us. So you have to be deliberate on that front. And then you also went on to say that it's not that intelligence alone does not make you, the alpha in a place. But what is that other skill set that you have that will probably guarantee you a big job? Or rather, what values do you hold that will entice people to, bring you on board on different projects? So then it causes me to pose a question that was actually in the chat. How do I maintain constant engagement with my networks without digging deep in my pocket? People have this pretext of, I have to service my networks. I have to service all these guys so that they keep me in their circle. So, Tony, how would you actually go about this one?
That is an interesting one.
It's again about value. There's a very interesting saying that says it's not what I'm getting from the job, but it's what I'm becoming from the job.
Yes.
Same thing in your network. It's not about what you're getting from the network, but what you're becoming from the network. If the network is not growing you, like Barbara said, delete.
Yeah.
Control Alt delete, right? If a network is making you spend to be part of it, then you're not creating value, because the network should actually call you and pester you all the time.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to know how valuable you are, it's when you get to a point where you have invitations and you are constantly saying no. But if you're invited and the first thing is vibes, yes, vibes and mashallah, then for sure you're not really creating value. So it's very important for you to, one, be intentional, but also what value are you giving the network, or what value are you getting from the network? That will then determine the very critical aspect of, whether you should be in it or not. Sometimes you might find that you are spending too much in trying to maintain a network which is actually worthless at the end of the day. Just like in marketing. You're spending so much advertising something, chinakwata, and it fails to kukwata you. You understand? So sometimes you just have to hit the harsh reality and realize it's probably time to just pull out. But if you're spending to maintain a network over and over and over,
there's a problem.
You might as well just ignore that network.
And there's something in relation to that, actually. So how do you revamp the networks that you have lost over years? Because you mentioned that you have to keep in touch, you have to follow through with your people. You've been through moments, you've been through places, you've built this very good capacity. Then you keep moving on and you keep dropping people off your radar. But guess what? You're dropping someone who will actually be something big for you up there. So how do you revamp?
There are two ways you can see that. Number one, it's really maintaining contact. Maintaining contact once in a while, email, phone call, how are you doing? It's been a while. What's happening in your circle? But then there's also the other critical element of understanding that in life we also grow. And as you grow, you outgrow some networks.
Yeah.
Some people, I always talk about only quality people. And the more you have clarity in purpose, you start dropping off so many networks on people. That's the truth.
That's true.
If I have a guy who still thinks we still have to enjoy our drinking like our drinking days in Miri today, we have a problem. We have a problem. So there are two ways you can say it. One, really maintaining contact. And again, contact is really about also focus, knowing what you really want.
Yeah.
So then you maintain the right contact. You spend your energy on the right conversations and communications that can support you. But the second one for me is very critical. We all grow. You outgrow people.
Yeah.
And by the way, the moment you start realizing that your circle is growing smaller and neater, that's a sign of growth.
That's true.
And maybe to add on that, it's important on how you let those networks go.
Yeah.
You remember what I said?
Yeah.
It's much easier to get back to those networks later in life,
Yeah.
depending on how you cut off those networks. If you're going to cut them off in a very bad, unprofessional manner, it will be very hard for you to get back.
That's true.
So you must be deliberate to say that every single human being that comes into your life, there's a way in which you handle them because they remain human. And networks about human. Okay?
Yeah.
So that how you cut off that network is very important.
And Claire, just to add, like I said, to everything there is a season. Huh?
Yeah.
But that season must have certain clarity
Yes.
and purpose. Okay? So in that particular season, who are those people that I need to thrive? Clarity might not necessarily come instantly. It might take time. Let me give an example. You want to write a book. I'm giving an example. You want to write a book. The people that you might need might include a professor from university. I'm just giving an example. Maybe to give you some information of research. You understand? But you see, that is an intentional network. So you might throw them off, yes, but a lot of times, by the time you get to throw off, the first question to ask yourself is, why are you throwing them off? Or why are you throwing them away? And even if when you stop talking to someone, like Olive said, and she mentioned it very critically, if you stop, at what level are you stopping to talk to that person? But for me, what is critical is for every network, there is a season for it. You will never keep that network for life. They will always. So if I'm writing a book, I'll have it. When the book is launched and we become successful, I will not need you anymore, but we shall remain friends. But we might not necessarily have the coffees like we've been having book, but then I will move on to other things. So there's nothing wrong with stopping to talk to people. Or even maybe you're leaving a place to go and work someplace else, or whatever it is. Any journey in your life, there's nothing wrong with growth. But let that growth and the people you're keeping speak to that purpose at that particular point in time.
Perfect. I couldn't have said it any better. And that actually drives to the point of where you said segment your networks according to your values and purpose. So here I will also add even the season. Because it's very important.
There's a season for everything.
There's a season for everything. And then we need to show up. We need to show up, guys. Because in this, we'll be sold. Because you just can't sit back and expect to be sold. No, you need to show up.
That's true.
Every day we are selling ourselves. And oh, by the way, Barbara, you mentioned something about mindset shift. Apollo may not have mentioned it.
Okay.
Maybe it skipped him. But yes, the fund is actually, it introduced a program. And the Trailblazers, it's an angle in the High Innovator, but partnering with the financial literacy program of the NSSF. Yeah, it's basically working. We started with our members, but it's basically working them from a place of psychological wellness into the financial wellness. Because we start with the mind, and then we'll talk about, the finances and all.
So how does one join that program? Because what is killing us today is mindset.
Yeah,
everyone is stuck in their comfort zone. I am not getting out of here to try something new. So how does one join something like that so that we can be able to, to help a lot of us move from point A to the point where we need to soar and, become better versions of ourselves?
Okay, we just wound up with our first cohort.
Okay.
But we are going to have a couple of more cohorts to walk people through. And we have very many people sign up, actually. It's tremendous what is happening.
So you do a call for entries?
Yes, we do.
Excellent.
And webinars. And in partnership with Apollo, he does the awareness and all. So we have people sign up.
Okay.
Yeah, so then I'll pose a question to you. We have a segment of people in the country that think, that think low of themselves, and these are the teachers. And there's a question in the chat. Can teachers make successful networks?
Oh my goodness, yes.
And this I want you to answer because I know you have a lot to say.
Oh, wow. If I have teachers listening to us today, yay to all the teachers. I am for you. Yes. But teachers, one thing that teachers must realize is, again, this thing called mindset shift is a very interesting conversation. The mind is very interesting. We have this thing because I am a teacher, That's all. To our viewers out there and to the teachers, I have worked with over 1,000 teachers before, and I have seen teachers move from a mentality of I don't think I can thrive to huge businessmen right now with lots of examples that I can give. So the possibility is there. It has nothing to do with your title, Banange. Your title. Teacher, simanya banker, simanya manya what? That has nothing to do with your journey in life. So my teachers out there, if you're using teacher as a title, as a job, you will remain boxed in. There is no way you can tell me because you're a teacher, you cannot succeed. If you're a teacher, all of us have gone through teachers, no? So if you tell me you cannot succeed, look at the seeds in front of you right now. Why don't you reach that seed and tell them, "Owange babra nyinaka business kange tukoze tutia," and you'll see if I will say no. So I think for me, when it comes to teachers, you are confident enough to teach us how to be better versions of ourselves, yet you're not confident enough to help yourself reach the next level. Do you know what the word teacher means? To start off. So what I can say is no. It's not that you can fail and you cannot do it. So to my teachers out there or anyone in the teaching space, there's no difference between you and me, and yet you have a lot more potential than I do because you're a teacher. So I want to put it there right now that the person who is stopping your success is you. So if you're a teacher and you're in the same network with a person who has the same mentality as you, mukuanono kuladi. So right now, to all the teachers out there, reach to your seeds, because the seeds you have planted are the seeds right here that you're seeing, a Barbara, a Tony, and Olive. So when is it time for you to rise up? The time is now. So reach out. And as we said, you have to show up. So come on and show up. We are right here to walk this journey with you. Yes.
Yes, because every day
I think
is a
the
runway
teachers
for all
have
of us.
one of the best networks.
You know, the best networks,
We
Banana.
know them.
The
We remember
best.
the teacher who, that teacher who came in and put this, us, our time, we didn't have these,
Calculators and what?
we had the blackboard and the white, and we keep remembering this teacher. So get out there, Mr. Teacher, sir or lady, and look out for that person. That person where you planted your seed.
Yes.
We feel so proud when we keep telling, "Oh, look, this was my teacher."
Yeah.
And the teacher is also proud. This is my daughter.
I know.
This is my student. So I think they have a bigger network
Yes, they do.
than any of us could
Yes.
ever have.
Yes, they do.
So teachers, be confident, be deliberate and intentional. We've got your backs and we'll always follow through.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter where we go. Tony, I realize you're big on social media. Okay, those are streets where I actually meet you and all the positive vibe that you share. Yeah. It's actually very good content that you put out there for us. I like it. It's very educative. You're in spaces with Kabushenga. I mean, that's a very good plus for you. And you've really, you really kept us engaged throughout COVID, throughout lockdown. I mean, we kept, yearning for more, and you are quite good on the spaces. So I'll pose a question to you in that regard. Should people be mindful on who they follow on social media? Can this be a determinant factor on your social capital or network?
Okay, let me just break it down in the most simplest of ways. We have a subconscious mind.
Yeah.
The subconscious mind is like a sponge. It doesn't care whether it's dirty water or clean water.
Yeah.
Whatever you feed it,
That's
it
it.
sucks. Now, if you're following violence every day, and that is what you enjoy, while a lot of people are taking in great ideas of how to improve themselves, their businesses, or their professional careers, there's going to be a difference definitely in the next 1 year, 2 years, 5 years. That's a fact. Now, a lot of what we have done today, unfortunately, is to abuse a great opportunity of social media and the internet as a whole.
Yeah.
If I went to university at a time that the internet was such liberalized as today, only if we went at a time as that, trust me, I would probably be 10 times more intelligent than what I am today.
Yeah.
Because there's so much on there. It's like a library of everything. You go to YouTube, you can learn how to repair anything. I don't even need these guys here live streaming. I can do this if I go on YouTube and do a tutorial.
Yeah.
But what are
Mama,
we doing with
we
our
are not
time?
taking your jobs.
I'm not saying we're taking your jobs, but I'm saying what are we doing with our time?
That's true.
We're using
That's
it
true.
on things that do not really help us
That's
grow.
true.
Yeah.
If you want to build a great network, what content are you putting out?
Yeah.
What
That's true.
content are you following? Which people are you following to show you how to better yourself? If I know I want to be a great musician, which musicians do I look up to and how they promote themselves, showcase themselves? Or am I a musician who just wakes up and says, "Anybody to get no kuba lero," and bam, violence? So it's really about a balance. I mean, all of these things can be great depending on what kind of person you are.
Yeah.
But I personally strongly think that how you utilize the great media or medium of social media is what really determines what comes out of your
That's
mouth
true.
and so on and so forth. I've always said everything that you read or see or subject your mind to, you manifest in your head.
That's
Yeah.
true.
The next thing that will happen
That's true.
will come out of your mouth, and then it becomes your behavior. It becomes what you are known for. And trust me, the moment people know you for something,
That's
and
it.
if it's negative, no one would want you around their network or even their friends' network.
Yeah.
So it's really about how you use that, medium and what you really post or what you engage with. That really determines who you are as an individual.
Okay. Thank you so much for that. I will close the Q&A, and I'll invite Mr. Headmaster Sir to take over and close the session. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Claire.
Thank you so much, Claire. You missed the sir at the beginning of Headmaster.
Sir
She gets
Headmaster.
a reach.
Sir Headmaster, sir. Thank you so much, guys. This has been quite. I've been writing things here. One of the things I need to, by virtue of my role at NSSF, I get to meet wonderful people. I mean, I walk into a room and I have a reason to talk to someone. I say I'm Apollo, and they say, "You are Headmaster." I say, "Yes, I am the one." And it has opened doors for me. I just want to just reinforce this notion of the networks. When you talked about Obama, there are people, actually, we have never thought that it is possible to meet.
Yeah.
I was having a discussion with my team, and we were looking for a speaker for one of our events. And I realized the conversation has shifted. We used to think of who can we find we could talk about. Maybe let's talk to Richard. Let's talk, not that Richard is not a bad, but those were people within the building.
And your networks.
When we had one this morning, my people were telling me, talk to Dangote, talk to Tony Emelu. And I'm asking them, guys, I need to pay for their,
Tickets.
not tickets, I need to pay for their planes docking here. And they said, yeah, so what can't you do? Like, it is progressing. It's progressing. So I think, and when I sat back and I thought, I ticked myself. May I like ticking myself? I said, I'm making some progress. If what I'm thought of I can accomplish is that, then I am making some progress. So, yes, networks. Your networks are your network. Your networks are your net worth.
True.
You cannot run away from that.
True.
Tony, when you speak about social media, I am very shy on social media, and I am following like 5 people on one of those networks, one of those things, and I have about 45 followers. But then I felt like I am not being of value to them. So while you are looking at building networks, you also need to be vital to the networks that build around you.
You've mentioned.
And I told them, guys, if you feel like you cannot push me into giving you good content at least once a week, you need to drop off. You need to drop off. But and I am working on it, and this is not my comfort zone. Social media is not my. I like writing letters and stamps and everything.
And stamp them
And I send. I even have a paper. So me, I'm good with writing, but I have deliberately. You talked of the live streaming. I mean, the resources you have around you, and we are concluding. The live streaming guys, they can't tell you which school they went to learn live streaming.
That's true.
It must be their phones and YouTube and something. And now we are paying.
What schools did you go to?
We are paying them money. These guys, they talk a lot of English before you. Eventually, they're asking for so much money. So, networks. Ladies and gentlemen, be knowledgeable. Look for the empty moments. Where the day you stop learning is the day you die. That corporate syndrome, drop it. That phone that has so many people that really can't raise anything, drop it. Don't drop the phone, just throw out those contacts. Show up. Be engaged. Engage. Value. Which value are you presenting? For the teachers, I have huge respect for the teachers, and I am here to say I am representing the teachers. I am not a teacher by training, but I really like to be a teacher. That's why headmaster, sir.
Headmaster, sir.
Yeah,
Yes,
and guess what? The teachers, I get to have all these big people. All these big people call me headmaster, sir, headmaster, sir. How about you who actually qualified for it? You will definitely get. You are of value to them. Thank you so much, Barbara. Thank you so much, Tony. Thank you so much, Olive.
You're welcome.
The headmaster now has to give you some homework. That book, that one book that you feel like would be of value to the people listening out there. What is that book or blog or what do you call it, Tony? Space that you would point someone to look to follow, to read, and it will become better. I'll start with a gentleman, then we'll go to the ladies of valor.
Okay, so I think for many of you who know, I like reading a lot of Stoic literature. I would recommend Courage is Calling. Actually, 2 books. Courage is Calling by Ryan Holiday. It's a very good book on how to become, to step out of your zone and challenge yourself, do things, and ideally show up.
Yeah.
If you ever want to show up, it talks about so many stories, including the most important story in the history of storytelling or the Bible or any religion.
Yeah.
The story of David and Goliath. Goliath just showed up. So it's about courage. Courage is calling. Then Ego is the Enemy. Ego is the Enemy is the same book by the same author, a book that will ground you.
Yeah.
Sometimes we suffer from arrivism.
That's true.
We think we have arrived. We think we are the ish. Me Otoa assuming that I am the ish and I'm failing to learn more means I am losing it, because there are 100 guys who want to be better than me and they can be better than me in the next
That's
few.
true.
But putting away my ego and realizing I am just as nothing and naked makes me understand that the harsh realities of life require us to be humble, to be genuine people, and to be real.
Thank you, Tony.
Thank you, Tony.
Olive?
Wow, there are many books.
I know,
There are
right?
those that are literature, because sometimes we underestimate those old books that we used to read.
I know.
But one of the books that I've enjoyed, because I love branding, I think it's I Am My Brand. There's that book. You go in there, read it. I think I'm trying to remember who the writer is, but it's I Am My Brand. It will show you the paths that you need to follow through and how you can build networks. Even the little books that Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Sometimes we ignore them, but keep going back to those books. You'll pick 1 or 2 things that actually maybe you've forgotten about, or you can learn from, or you can even share. So there are many books to read. Please get into the habit of reading.
Yes.
It's one of those most knowledgeable areas that you can have.
That's
Thank
true.
you so much, Barbara. Olive. And finally, Barbara, before you give me your book, I just want you to give me a small tip about UDB and what the relevance it is for our members here. Then
okay.
give me your book.
Okay. So, when people hear about UDB, the first thing they're like, "Hey, back your government, if abantu bawansi tetutunulira." But, ladies and gentlemen, Uganda Development Bank is an investment arm of government for all. And our duty as a bank is to fill the gaps that commercial banks cannot fill, that speak to the National Development Plan 3 agenda. What do I mean? Are you a person in agriculture? Or is it tourism? Or is it schools? When we talk about capacity in schools and health, is it industrialization, manufacturing? So those areas that will help, especially where youth and women are concerned, but areas that are going to help alleviate, poverty, make sure that at least our food buckets are where they need to be, and to grow our industrial and manufacturing space as a country. So Uganda Development Bank products actually, ladies and gentlemen, for a fact, by the way, this is not like Stanbic that you go and then you open an account and deposit and transact. It's not a transactional bank, okay? It is purely a bank that invests in your idea, as long as the idea speaks to the transformation of this country in the focus areas that I spoke about. And and this is debt. So for those of you who think we go and just give grants because it's government money, please think again, okay? So this is still debt, but it is debt to help you grow personally. But remember, the catch here, sir, headmaster, sir, when you come to UDB, you just want a business to put money in the pocket, we shall have to think twice. UDB is a development financial institution. We speak to development. So whatever you're doing, what is it doing to help the people in your community? How many youth, for example, are you employing? How many women are you employing? How are you helping the value chain? For example, if you're growing kasoli, how is your value chain end to end? So everything that UDB does speaks to that. And our facilities start from as low as 50 million shillings to, we can go high above the heavens. But anyone who has a project that speaks to the development of this country, UDB is here for you. And one of the things that I do is to link you, the person who doesn't know how to get that facility, to people like UDB to ensure that at least you're okay. So we work with people like Tony Otoa to ensure that we train you to be at a level where you can take that debt or that financial assistance, grow yourself, and then give it back. The beauty here, we even have a grace period. We can talk and say, we are
about to talk about the ad money.
But yes, so really as UDB, there are so many things that we do to make sure that your business is done right. But before we can ensure it does right, is it doing right by the people, and is it doing right for the overall development of this country?
Thank you, Barbara.
Yes.
I am also happy to announce that we as NSSF, we try to be the network to the likes of the UDB, the likes of Stanbic, the likes of NCA, whatever you think you can get from any of these people. Let NSSF know, let us share.
Excellent.
And we'll definitely get talking. Your book.
So for me, goodness, I'm one of those people who was bitten for reading. Can you imagine? I hated it in school because I was bitten too much. Anyway, but I realized even if I was bitten for not wanting to read, it is something that has really helped me. For those people out there, I have a mind that is always moving. My mind, even when I'm in bed, I'm thinking of new ideas. Like my mind doesn't sleep. So I needed to become grounded to focus. One of the books that helped me is The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. E-R-K-H-A-R-D, Tolle, T-O-L-L-E. That book is an interesting book, but I needed to ground myself, because for you to move from point A to point B, before you bring in all these networks, you need to ensure that you as an individual are grounded. Another book which I am still reading, and I'm so glad I'm reading this, to the ladies out there, please, if you can, it's on Kindle. It's Women Don't Ask. And the way I got to know about this book, by the way, just tell you about this book. This is a book of why women don't make decisions. We don't like to make decisions. Gunda nalowoza atya, gunda nalowoza atya. Why are you thinking about Gundi and not thinking about yourself? So this book helped women to get into a boardroom and make a decision. So it has actually quite helped me. I keep reading it, going back to some chapters. Women Don't Ask, Negotiation and the Gender Divide by Linda Babcock and Sarah Lasher. I cannot pronounce their names. But ladies, if you can get... Oh, okay, also the gentlemen. We are not being gender biased. But one other thing I want to add to reading. It never stops on reading. Some people are not good at reading. You can take short courses on LinkedIn or Coursera. In fact, the LinkedIn courses are practically free. Or Coursera, for example. When I need to know about something, when Tony is talking about some issues in oil and gas, I'm like, I go to Coursera, take a short course for like 4 or 5 weeks, just get to know what it is like. Then I'm already knowledgeable. At the point in time at which I come and talk to Tony, Mani. So sometimes some of these things, you need to take the initiative. It might not be a book, but you can actually find it on those, social platforms, even on Twitter, on Facebook. There are those things that will speak to that particular subject topic. Banange, let's make an effort to get out there and find it.
Thank you so much, Barbara. These 4 minutes overtime have courtesy of Barbara. Yes, not headmaster. Thank you so much, Barbara. Thank you so much, Tony. Thank you so much, Olive. It's been a pleasure. We really, really, really thank you. These gentlemen and ladies, on this platform, I'm the only one that is paid to be here. Everyone else volunteers their time. Thank you, NSSF, for paying me. Everyone else volunteers their time, and we are grateful. And when you come, you actually deliver. We are grateful. We are grateful. Thank you so much, Olive. Thank you so much, Tony, again. Thank you so much, Barbara. Thank you so much, the live stream team, the back office team, the FL team, and NSSF for bringing this to you. We will come back to you next month, and we will talk more about the next topic. Same time, about the third Tuesday of the month, and we will be here to become better. Are you becoming better? As I wind up, this skipped my mind. The definition of big-headedness is you learning and not acting. So when you keep learning, you are putting things into your head, it becomes big, and you do not act. When you act, things change in your life. Thank you so much.
Thank you.